So I'm supposed to be vlogging my experience from draft to final product, but I'm not working on Seed Among Good Ground right now. I am working on Seed Among the Rocks and revising it. You know, I give myself grace and not try to beat myself up a little, like too much about the mistakes that I made in book one, okay? I wrote book one completely on my own. And when I say that, meaning like I didn't have beta readers. I had a developmental editor, I had proofreader, and I had a few people read some like early drafts, but no one had read the whole thing, you know? So I didn't have like that type of feedback on like the final version, the version I was happy with. I didn't have a ton of feedback on. So there's going to be a lot of mistakes, or just mistakes. Maybe not a lot, but mistakes and things I wish I would have done differently, but it doesn't matter. I love my book and I am planning to remedy some of the situations in my plotting and writing of book 2 and 3 because I've learned things, and when you learn you grow and you change. I was realizing that I don't construct a timeline when I draft or outline, so I really have no idea over how long, how many days, months, weeks, years my story takes place. So I was thinking back on book 1, I was like, well, how long did all of this happen? When the heck is Emerton's birthday? How do birthdays even work in this fantasy world? How does time work? Are there clocks? There's one time she says, I wonder what time it is in book 1, but I don't think I really mention time or like keeping time or anything like that. Okay, I don't know where I left off. Mom called. But okay, timelines are really, really hard, and you should probably think about it before you start your book. Not before you start, but like as you're drafting, that should be part of the drafting process. Like, how much time is all of this taking? As well as if you're writing some kind of fantasy, high fantasy or epic fantasy, I guess. Is there a calendar system? Do they just follow the regular Western calendar, Gregorian calendar, 24-hour period? Do we just follow that? I don't know in this book. I don't know how long book 1 took, but if I say the events of book 1 took 4 months, then at the start of book 2, we are 1 year from the start of book 1. That's what we're going with. So now I'm just trying to figure out over how many months is book 2 going to take place. And I feel like the first half of the book needs to take more time because so much is happening. We have so much information. We really have like 5 storylines plus like everyone else, all the side characters, little storylines and everything, and how they're all like converging, coming together into one. And like they're trying to build temples and gain favor and help people and get people on their side and all this other stuff. Like that takes time, that they're not like just compelling people to follow them. They are persuading them and doing different things to make them follow them. So all of that takes time, and there has to be something like, yes, Emerton is trying to push and push and push and be like, we need to get this now, so she can be like frantic and everything and still have it take time. So 6 months from the time the story starts to the middle where the turning point happens, that could be a span of about 6 months. It doesn't have to be exactly 6 months, but about 6 months. And then the rest of the book, which will begin to go quicker, is I'm thinking around 3. But okay, and then in my mind I'm thinking like, oh well, if it's so much time, is it going to keep the reader reading and engaged and everything? But I think that makes a lot of sense because once you get towards the end, the pace should quicken because like the events are happening like one right after the other. So the pace is going to be a lot faster. In the beginning, you know, we're traveling, we're exploring this new world, we are doing all of these things. I feel like they would take a lot slower pace. So approximately 6 months for the first half, so beginning to midpoint, and then approximately 3 months for bad guys pulls in right after midpoint all the way through to the end. So the total for book 2 being over the span of 9 months. That's what I'm going to work with. And then as I revise and draft again, once I have it all laid out, I can go back and edit it. But like now it doesn't exist. The timeline doesn't exist. Okay, so I think that's doable, usable. Yeah, so I think that works. 6 months 3 months. I don't know what I need else to figure out on the timeline. Probably like the course of events. But really, when I wanted to do a timeline, I just wanted to get like how many days. And then I also need to get like seasons. What season are we in? I know that the season of the world is a little bit messed up because of the lack of the fire guardian energy being on the earth. So we know that is a little jacked up, and it's jacked up the seasons a bit. So, and then another thing that I want to really do is like, because we're more out there in the world and not just with the family, I want to dive a lot more into the cultures that are around. Like the earth is basically like separated into like the humans, the elementals, the giants, the fae, and the divine. And what all of those different cultural dynamics look like, political structures look like, how do they all work together with Cornelius as the deity, the god, how do they all operate together with him, what different cultural festivals or historical events or traditional events are within each culture, because we're going to spend a lot of time in Pregora with the humans there because that's where Shaw's mom is. And then we spend a lot of time in Zascaria, which is Eliora's continent or province, region, whatever. And and she's Fae. So I want to dive more into like the Fae, and we're going to spend some time with the giants as well. So I just want to make sure that I highlight the different cultural aspects of each subset and culture. So yeah, that is something else that I really want to solidify before I start revising. And I feel like I'm running out of time because it's the 22nd of May and I want to be finished by my birthday, which is the 31st of May. Yeah, but I think this is all going to really help me solidify. I've gotten a lot of the plot things down. I did plot embryos for all of my main pro tags and tags. So I got this is not Emerton's, this is Shaw's. Colors mean nothing on Emerton's. I was just trying to make it pretty. So this is my plot embryo for Emerton. I've adjusted some scenes and I really like this method so far. I think I still need to get used to using it, I think. But like this half is like her old self, and then this half is like her new self, and then order and chaos, and then like internal, external. And then it's just like, yeah, and it looks pretty. They kind of get less filled out as I go on, but Elias, Cornelius, and Demetrius, they didn't need as much. Demetrius did, but this is Shaw. I've changed some things about like the way he's going to approach the situation, approach the world, and how he's going to interact with it. Since I'm slowing down the pacing a little bit of the beginning of the story, I want to give a lot more page time to my large cast of characters. So we're going to spend more time with Eliora and Viv and Asher especially, because I don't feel like they get enough page time and they're kind of just there right now. And then as we meet some old characters again and new ones, I want to make sure that their purpose is secure and like you know why they're there, and they're not just standing in the background not doing anything during like the high intensity scenes. Because one thing that I think 2 or 3 people, I haven't had that many reviews on my book, but at least 2 of the reviews, so I kind of feel like it's true at this point, that the pacing was really quick for book 1. Seed Among the Thorns, available Amazon, go buy it today. But that the pacing was really quick and almost like breathtakingly quick. Like there wasn't a lot of scenes that were just like slowed down and like collect ourselves. And yeah, like there was a lot of events, a lot of material all like shoved into this one book. And I see that. I understand now, taking a long step back from book 1, but I still love it. And it's not a bad book, but of course, there's always going to be things you wish you would have done differently or changed. It's really quick paced. There's a lot of material in it. So what I'm trying to do with books 2 and 3 is really try to get my pacing really nice, inserting a lot more scenes that are just like slower and give us time with our side characters, our antagonists, give us time. I'm thinking about adding flashbacks, not entirely sure, but I feel like if they would serve to explain things about the plots, especially like when we get into the history of the different cultures and like Shaw's family on his mom's side, because they're going to be a big part of book 2. The timeline thing was really important for me. And then the changes that I made to how Emerton and Shaw are going to move through the first half of the book is going to also serve to deepen the world, I feel like, and the culture, different cultures, and kind of clarify some things that I may not have thought about when I was doing book 1. Just like solidifying some things, clearing some things up, making things make sense. So I'm really excited about it. But this is Demetrius's because he needs a plan. And this one is Cornelius's, which is practically empty. And then Elias's, which is more empty. Yeah, so I'm excited. And then I didn't show you the timeline that I made. And I just put, I don't want you to see like the events, but like I put the different like beats. I use Save the Cat for this and KM Wyland. But opening image, catalyst, break into 2, pinch point, midpoint, pinch point 2, bad guys close in. Well, no, not that one. All is lost, break into 3, and then the 5-part finale. So I set those on the timeline, and then I said, how long does it take to get from this point to this point? So you can ignore those numbers at the bottom because I decided to change it and have the first half of the book take place over 6 months. So I need to go back and figure out how long stuff happens. But I think I might go and put everybody's plot embryos on to, like, I don't have any note cards and I wanted to do everything by hand, but I think I might go into Scrivener now and do note cards and map everybody's storyline, like the cause and effect. So that is the next step in this revision process. Honestly, y'all, this is the only book I've ever revised. This is my debut novel, originally published in 2016 when it was a lot less words, contemporary, and about a witch and a demon. This is the first one that I have actually revised. I am better, I don't want to say better, but I'm good at first drafts. I used to be really fearful of anybody reading my stuff. Anybody reading my work terrified me, and I thought that they would just think that I sucked. My first book I wrote in high school. Well, I finished it in high school, started in elementary school, finished it in high school, and I didn't let anyone read it ever. I would fight and cry if somebody touched my notebook or opened my document or looked over my shoulder or whatever. So I wasn't keen on letting people see my stuff. So when I discovered self-publishing and I was like, this is easy, I just want to see my book in my hands type thing, I was a publish a first draft kind of girl. And not that I didn't know that you need to revise and edit and make it better. I wasn't against revising and making it better, but I don't think I knew exactly how to do that. And it was always like intimidating for me. I had enough skill, I guess, to make the scene better, like make the writing better, but structurally I didn't do a lot of revision early on. When I finally was like, I want to self-publish and I want to self-publish successfully, when I took this book down, started actually revising and put it back up in 2020, that's why I'm so proud of this book. Even if like some people don't like it, even if some people say like too much is crammed in here or this could have been slower, 2 books or whatever, it's fine. I love your opinions. I love that you read my book. I'm still proud of it because it's not the fact that you can just write a book. I mean, I wrote a book. I've written so far 4? I have 4 like completed drafts. This is the only solid one, but I have 4 books written already. I don't know. I used to be really limited by the idea of comparison and imposter syndrome and thinking that everybody was just wonderful and perfect and then I suck. That it took me a long time to get over that and to actually invest in myself. So I'm proud. Like, it's a lot of work, everything that I'm thinking of doing, but it's fun work. That is how I know that I've grown and that I've healed thinking I'm not good enough, because like I'm gonna put everything that I can into the sequels to this series because I love it and I love writing and I love growing and becoming better. I think I have a lot of natural talent when it comes to writing. It's just something that I've always done. But I have so far to go. Like, I have so much higher to climb, and I'm excited about it, and I'm excited for it. And there will be a time where I'm like, oh yeah, how long did this book take place? Or, oh yeah, let me make sure everybody's storylines check out. You know, things that might seem like really like dumb or like simple, but I feel like all life is just trial and error. So embrace whatever process you are doing, and that's just where I am. So I have no shame in the fact that I've put books up and taken them down. 2 of them, twice actually. I have no shame in the fact that I have published a first draft. I don't have shame in the fact that I have made a lot of mistakes in my publishing career, and I'm still learning and I'm still growing, and that's the takeaway that I have. Continue with me on this journey as I now plot all of my scenes. Yeah, that's it. I don't even know if this is a video, but that's all I got for this clip.